If you think gluten only affects your gut, you're missing the bigger picture. What if your daily brain fog, anxiety, or migraines were triggered not by stress or age, but by what you eat? This video uncovers the shocking signs gluten is already silently hijacking your brain function. Welcome to Levitas. Most miss the signs and keep affecting their brain. At the end of the video, you'll know what to do to improve this terrible problem. 1. Brain fog. Brain fog is one of the most common yet overlooked symptoms of gluten sensitivity. While most people associate gluten with digestive issues, research shows gluten can also trigger neuroinflammation, leading to mental cloudiness, forgetfulness, and difficulty concentrating. This foggy feeling happens when gluten creates an immune response that affects the brain. In people with celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, gluten activates antibodies that can cross the blood-brain barrier, inflaming brain tissue and impairing communication between neurons. Even without full-blown celiac disease, gluten can trigger the release of cytokines, chemical messengers that increase brain inflammation. This can interfere with short-term memory, reduce mental sharpness, and leave you feeling like you're living in a mental haze. One study published in the journal Nutrients found that gluten-sensitive individuals showed measurable changes in cognitive performance, even after just one meal containing gluten. They experienced slowed mental processing and reduced focus, especially in multitasking scenarios. If you often feel mentally sluggish after meals or like you're not quite yourself, gluten may be affecting your brain more than your belly. Eliminating gluten for just a few weeks can sometimes lead to dramatically clearer thinking and improved mental energy. 2. Headaches and migraines. Frequent headaches or migraines that seem to have no clear cause could be a sign that gluten is affecting your nervous system. Gluten has been linked to neurovascular inflammation, a key player in migraine development. Studies show that individuals with gluten sensitivity, especially those with celiac disease, are significantly more likely to experience migraines than the general population. This connection is believed to stem from gluten-induced inflammation in the trigeminal nerve system, which plays a central role in head pain. When gluten triggers an immune response, the resulting inflammation can affect blood vessels in the brain, causing them to constrict and then rapidly dilate, a known mechanism behind migraine onset. Additionally, gluten may interfere with serotonin regulation, which is essential for maintaining stable blood flow in the brain. For some, gluten withdrawal has been shown to reduce or even eliminate chronic headaches within days or weeks. In clinical trials, patients with unexplained migraines who followed a gluten-free diet experienced significant relief, suggesting that gluten could be a hidden trigger for persistent head pain. If you find yourself constantly reaching for painkillers or avoiding bright lights, it may be time to investigate gluten as a neurological irritant. 3. Mood disturbances. Gluten doesn't just affect the brain's function, it also impacts how you feel. Mood swings, anxiety, irritability, and even depression have all been linked to gluten sensitivity, particularly when it causes inflammation or gut-brain axis disruption. The gut and brain are deeply connected through the vagus nerve, and what happens in your digestive tract can influence neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine. Gluten can damage the gut lining, increasing intestinal permeability, commonly known as leaky gut. This allows inflammatory particles to enter the bloodstream, eventually impacting brain chemistry. A 2014 study in Alimentary Pharmacology and Therapeutics found that people with non-celiac gluten sensitivity had significantly higher rates of depressive symptoms, which often resolved upon starting a gluten-free diet. Some individuals even report feeling calmer and more emotionally stable just days after cutting out gluten. Moreover, gluten can indirectly raise cortisol levels, the body's primary stress hormone, leading to heightened anxiety and a reduced ability to handle everyday stress. If your mood feels unpredictable or you're constantly riding emotional highs and lows, gluten could be a hidden factor disrupting your mental equilibrium, and the change in your mood might be the first thing you notice when you remove it. 4. Dizziness and vertigo. One of the more surprising neurological symptoms of gluten sensitivity is dizziness or vertigo, that disorienting feeling where the world spins or you feel lightheaded for no reason. Though less talked about, this can be a telltale sign that gluten is affecting your brain's balance centers. Gluten-related neurological disorders, sometimes grouped under gluten ataxia, include dysfunction in the cerebellum, a part of the brain responsible for balance and coordination. When gluten triggers inflammation or autoimmune activity in this area, it can disrupt vestibular function, leading to vertigo-like symptoms. In some cases, gluten can interfere with inner ear signaling, causing miscommunication between the ears and brain. This can manifest as motion sensitivity, difficulty standing upright, or feeling like you're walking on a boat, even in a stable environment. Research from the American Journal of Gastroenterology notes that some patients with unexplained vertigo experienced full symptom resolution after removing gluten from their diet, even without gastrointestinal symptoms. If you experience bouts of unexplained dizziness, especially after meals, gluten could be quietly affecting your vestibular system. It's a lesser-known but important reason to explore a gluten-free trial, especially when dizziness accompanies other cognitive or mood issues. 5. Cognitive decline. Gluten's effects on the brain may be more long-term than most realize, contributing to cognitive decline and even mimicking early dementia symptoms in susceptible individuals. This happens not through one pathway, but through a combination of inflammation, oxidative stress, and autoimmune attack. People with undiagnosed celiac disease or gluten sensitivity often suffer from gluten-related cognitive impairment, sometimes called gluten-related dementia. In these individuals, the immune system produces antibodies not just against gluten, but against the body's own brain tissue, especially in the cerebellum and hippocampus. These regions are essential for memory, spatial navigation, and decision-making. When under attack, people may experience forgetfulness, mental fatigue, and difficulty learning new tasks, hallmarks of early cognitive decline. A study from the Journal of Neurology revealed that some patients diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's or dementia improved significantly after removing gluten from their diet, suggesting some of these cases were misdiagnosed gluten-related neurological issues. If you're noticing a consistent decline in mental sharpness, word recall, or decision-making, gluten could be accelerating brain aging. The longer the exposure continues, the more damage accumulates, making early dietary intervention critical. 6. Ataxia. Ataxia refers to impaired coordination, balance, and muscle control, and in some cases, it can be triggered by gluten. This condition, known as gluten ataxia, is an autoimmune disorder where the body attacks parts of the brain responsible for movement and stability, particularly the cerebellum. Patients with gluten ataxia may experience clumsy movements, an unsteady gait, tremors, and even slurred speech. Symptoms often confused with neurological diseases like multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's, but the cause can be as simple and as treatable as a dietary protein. What makes gluten ataxia dangerous is that it can occur without digestive symptoms, making it harder to diagnose. In fact, the brain damage it causes can be irreversible if gluten is not removed early. Thankfully, studies have shown that a strict gluten-free diet can halt progression and even reverse symptoms in some cases. If you notice unexplained clumsiness or instability, don't overlook the potential role of gluten. Highest gluten foods. If you're experiencing neurological symptoms and suspect gluten might be the culprit, identifying the highest gluten foods is the first step. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye, and it lurks in far more foods than most realize. Obvious sources include bread, pasta, cereal, pizza, cakes, and cookies. But gluten also hides in soy sauce, beer, gravies, and many processed foods under names like malt extract, hydrolyzed wheat protein, or modified food starch. Restaurant meals are another hidden danger, especially fried foods or anything breaded, where gluten contamination is common. Even oats, while naturally gluten-free, are often contaminated during processing. Reading labels is essential. Look for certified gluten-free on packaging and learn to spot hidden sources in everyday foods. Transitioning to whole foods such as quinoa, legumes, fruits, vegetables, and high-quality proteins can reduce your gluten exposure dramatically and might be the key to reclaiming your brain health. In conclusion, gluten is not just a gut issue. It's a potential trigger for brain fog, migraines, mood swings, dizziness, cognitive decline, and even ataxia. These neurological symptoms often go misdiagnosed, yet eliminating high gluten foods may restore clarity, balance, and emotional stability. Your brain's health may depend on how you handle gluten. Thank you for tuning in to Levitas. Please share today's video with friends and family, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to receive notifications for future videos. Your support is appreciated. It helps us grow and create more content to empower your health. Remain tuned to Levitas for more expert advice on your health and fitness journey. So stay healthy, stay happy, and keep going.